red button.
All right.
Quick introduction. This is Chris and Stephanie Marion that we're talking to for our first journey on.
I said we're going to do this.
Sorry, we're really emotional.
They're so emotional. On same storm, different boat. This boat is coming from Dallas, Texas, and I happen to work for many years with Chris in Little River Band, and Stephanie is the lead female vocalist in Starship with Mickey Thomas. Yay! Hello.
Yay.
Hi.
Hi.
And,
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us to get some perspective from you guys. So go ahead.
All right, so we'll just dive right in. And, you know, it wasn't long ago, back in January, we were in Hawaii with you guys celebrating the wedding, and LRB had one of its busiest years going forward. Steph, you were getting ready to go out back on the road with Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
And wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, the rug got ripped right out.
No, thank you, ma'am. No, thank you, ma'am.
Exactly. Yeah, the rug got ripped out from under us. And not only had you just celebrated your wedding, you guys made a move, a major move.
The major move.
And so what swirl of emotions has this created for you? And, you know, being newly together and a new home, you're riding that high, and then all of a sudden yank. And now we're all down here. So how's that been for you?
I don't know. It's so weird because I think emotionally it's been kind of up and down. We've been obviously stuck with each other for a long time in the house. And I mean, we still go out and we'll go grocery shopping or we'll go pick up something to eat. But at the end of the day, we get along so well that we don't really fight, do we?
No.
Just kidding. We don't fight. And so, I mean, we've had little moments of, I am a very emotional person. But shut up. But he's very, calming and stuff. I think we just talked to each other the other night because I had another emotional breakdown, and he's very good at calming that. But I have to say we've done quite well on our relationship wise, and enjoying that. I think that dealing with the future and not kind of knowing what we're gonna do financially, and with the whole unemployment for self-employed has just been on the back burner for a lot of the states because they've never had to do this. So we've just been, kind of trying to make it happen. Again, with the wedding and the move, it kind of cleaned us out a bit financially. We weren't really planning on this like everybody else, but we're really strong in our faith, and we know that that we know that God's going to take care of us. I think we're not like, oh, we're good. But, we have moments where we're like, oh, God, what's happening? And then, and then we get back to a place where we just have to know that in every area, we're still okay. We're healthy and we're making it so far. And we're both pretty driven people. So we will find ways, whichever way we can. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's the perspective you have to have because it's so unknown. And we've been, although this is brand new, there's an element of fly by the seat of our pants like we've always done as independent contractors. My question for Chris was part of what you dug into way early on. Chris you've always been my go-to for everything Mac and tech and recording and so on and so forth, kind of my IT guy.
Well, and resources too.
And exactly. So I know that you navigated all those applications ahead of time, and then the irony was the one that you put in for Stephanie was the first one to come back and actually work. Just describe that for everybody, what you had to go through as an independent contractor to get noticed.
Well, I mean, that's a very, you encapsulate it perfectly. I mean, it's so frustrating. I mean, I think I'm pretty capable, from a technical standpoint. I mean, I read constantly. I mean, I can't sleep very well at night. So I wake up at, 5 in the morning and I'm reading news, trying to find articles about this stuff. And so, consequentially, early on, I knew the links, followed them through. I mean, I probably, I found a guy who said, hey, apply for as many PPP applications with as many banks as you can. So I probably have 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 applications out there, hoping that one of them will somehow click. With Stephanie, early on, we read the news about the economic interruption, the EIDL thing, that we were going to get a $10,000 advance that was independent of whether they approved it or not. So, I mean, I did one for an old business that I had. I did one for me. I did, one, and then I thought, I better do this for Stephanie too. So I did one for Stephanie, and then I called the Small Business Administration. And they said, do another one, and then do another one, and then do one for your partnership and all this stuff. And so, I mean, I had 4 or 5 of those out there, and then like the other night, Stephanie says, hey, I got an extra $1,000. I thought, because there was some other banking stuff that we worked on. And
I thought they messed up on my thing again. They did it the week before, and so
yeah, so we go on the account, and it's like the Small Business Administration had sent her in advance for $1,000.
That's like the lottery.
Yeah, it's like we get no correspondence from SBA. We get no, hey, you've been approved for this. Look for this in your bank account. It just shows up in her account. And I've applied multiple times with every stinking thing that I can possibly think of, and they actually dinged my credit check,
For applying so many times?
Well, I don't know, for some reason they checked they ran a hard inquiry on my account and lowered my credit score, and she got the grant.
Oh, yeah, catch-22. Sir, we can't approve you because you just got a ding on your credit and lowered it to the point where we can't
because
trust
we
you.
were trying, you were trying to do what you were told to do, right? That's so frustrating.
Well, I mean, the frustrating thing is that you read all this stuff, and you see Ruth's Chris and Shake Shack and Potbelly.
Yep.
They're getting tens of millions of dollars in approval, and basically, as anybody who's applied for it knows, the maximum that a sole proprietor can apply for is like 20 grand. It's just a drop in the bucket of some of these, but it's a small business. Me personally, it's a small business, so it's frustrating for us to watch all this stuff materialize. And sure, they've got a lot of employees that they're trying to send a paycheck to, but hey, nobody cares more about my situation than me. So I feel for everything through. Through ours, it's very frustrating, and it seems just like no matter what you do and how efficient you are, it's just not, it has nothing to do with how hard you work it. It has nothing to do with, how diligent you are or how together you are or how many forms you filled out properly before anybody else. It's completely, some kind of roll of the dice.
It seems random.
Well,
it just seems random.
It's almost like a raffle ticket.
Yeah.
Throw your stuff in and let's see if they pull it out. And I think I got this impression really clearly. We were talking with some friends here in town. And I think what people don't understand about people like you guys and like us, you are the small business. You don't have a brick and mortar over our heads that we go to every day and work at. Your business is the stage, wherever that is. And it is a business. And I know a lot of people don't understand that. I really think they don't get it, that, it doesn't just come out of the air somewhere.
Yeah, our motto on the bus is that most people think music falls out of the sky. It just happens. It's a joyous, fun event, and there's no there's no work behind it. It doesn't feel like a business. It feels like fun and loose and spirited and so on and so forth. So then when it comes time to pay the rent, it's like, well, what's the problem?
Well, and I think the sad thing too is that moving forward, I think people take for granted that entertainers, and people who are in the arts, it's just kind of like a given. Well, this optimistic encouragement part of our life is there to stay. They don't really, they take for granted the fact that, that we're, struggling to make ends meet and struggling to keep our lives going. And I think in a lot of ways, I think people, when they go on the other side of this, restaurants are going to open, essential services, everybody's going to be essential, in a couple of months when everything opens back up. But realistically, who knows when, large crowds are going to be able to get back together. I mean, man, it could be the rest of the year that we're down. And I think people are going to recognize in a couple of months, wow, this has consequences that are far beyond just being able to go out and sit in a restaurant and eat.
Well, you jumped ahead a bit, but the question for both of you: we've both stood in front of big crowds of people, indoors, outdoors, so on and so forth. From your imagination or your gut, what's the first one going to feel like? I've been thinking about it forever. Like, what's the first venue that we're going to get to go back to and play, and these people are going to come in? How does that? I mean, it kind of gives me chills just to think about the tension of that night. How's it going to feel?
I think it is our job as public figures to help bring a feeling of security and a feeling of hope to the people who want us to be there, because it's our job to bring them to another place. It's not my job to remind them of what reality is around them when they go home or when they get in their car. Our job as entertainers is to bring them into a place that they're trying to escape from, to remember things from having great memories to forgetting everything that's going on in the chaos in the world. That's why
I'm back to a happier time.
Yes, a happier time, or if they're new to this, or if someone brought them and they've never heard you before, it's our job to do to bring them a place of comfort and excitement and happiness. So for me, and I don't know if it's because there's been people not really in my circle that have suffered with this particular disease or virus. But I really believe that if we do get a chance to get on stage again, when yes, when. Oh God, I don't ever want to feel or make them feel like I don't. It's kind of like, I know this sounds weird, but we're going to be the front lines for them at that time. And so, the doctors are out there now with all of this. And I feel like that's what our job is to not be like, okay, listen, we're going to be here and you can stay there, but we'll play for you. I don't want them to feel like I'm not safe with them. And so for me, I think I'm just going to be hopeful that it'll be eventually get back to a place where I want to do a meet and greet afterwards, or that I want to hug them, or that I want to thank them somehow for paying the money and risking their world to come and support us. Because I know in the music industry, as without them, we'd have nothing.
That's right.
Right.
That's for sure.
Well, and I think, are you kind of saying too, because what we've all learned from this, and this will lead into another question for you guys too in a minute, but I think what we've all seen is just by doing the live things and the people seeing you guys in your homes as a real person going through the same struggles that everybody else is. So I think what maybe I'm hearing you say, Steph, is that you don't want people to feel afraid of you, or for them to feel like you're afraid to meet and greet with them or be near them, because you feel like it's your job as an entertainer to do exactly what you said. Take them back to happier times with the memories of the music.
Yeah.
I think that's, I totally agree. I
when
think
we get back to what we do, if they can risk it, I can risk it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity to bring them to that place, because they're risking it coming out. I could stay on stage if I wanted to. I could stay 6 feet apart from Mickey and all the boys, and and just be fine and go backstage and pretend that I like, and that's it. But I want them, like, I'll probably me personally, be more open to going out and saying hi, just to say, look at what you did for us. Because again, like I said, it's not as real to me, maybe because it's not hit me in my close circle, because I know it has affected a lot of people. Financially, it has affected us. Emotionally, we're scared and about what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, health-wise, I think it really hasn't hit us that way. So, watching things and reading things has really kind of educated us on, the risk that people will take if they do come out and see us again. And I'm not going to allow that thing to control or bring me the amount of fear where I get I'm not a distant person. I'm a big connector, and I can't live without human contact. I kind of wilt like a flower without water. I just can't. I need to have a social thing for me.
Well, and I think that to build on that, I think people are going to realize just how essential what we do is going to be in the next phase of this, because we're going to be the torchbearers for normalcy anyway. Because this, us going back out there and working and entertaining people and creating that live music experience is going to be so essential to bringing people back to some semblance of of normal living in a free world. And I think it's going to be super essential to healing a lot of wounds that our demographic is probably suffering more than any demographic from this disease. So.
Well, and I think, don't you agree too, that people will be hungry, not only hungry to hear the music live, but hungry to have that interaction and that joyous feeling, celebrations, whatever you want to call it, that you get at concerts. I mean,
and free to get away from their spouses. I need a break.
Get her back on the road, please.
You brought. I don't want to let this pass. You said a great line that we're on the front line of something, and if you go to a restaurant, your favorite restaurant, you get to go back and eat. You're still current. You're in now, here and now. You go to a baseball game. You're here and now watching this thing. People come to concerts to hear music that they grew up with and love. We're the front line of taking them out of here and now and letting them escape. And that was a really, really interesting line you used to put, especially our jobs in being in bands that are playing vintage music and adding new music to it. But it's an interesting responsibility and honor to do that. When those doors open and those people are able to come together but disappear into their own memories and scrapbooks and bubbles. Oh, my hands are. You want to do this? we're learning. Hi, I'm learning video. So
that kind of leads me into another question then, because we've been talking about the live concerts, and you guys did last week a home concert on social media, and it was really awesome. And how did that feel? What was that? What emotions did that stir? Because you were doing the live concert because we're not able to at home, because you're not able to go out and do what you do on stage in front of everyone. How was all of that as you were preparing for it, and not knowing if people were going to watch and how they were going to perceive it, and all of that stuff? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I can talk a lot about it, but I'll try to make it short.
No, really.
Just drink your Diet Coke. I have to say, I remember because we called Wayne and we're like, hey, listen, could we do this? You know, I'd seen a couple people on my Facebook feed, musicians that I know in Las Vegas doing things like this. You know, again, it's hard to ask people to help. I am not good at it. He's really not good at it. And I can see when my husband is having like an inner kind of battle with himself, because he's a guy, he's a man, and he wants to provide, and we're in a place right now where it's not known, and he's a planner, and right now it's kind of like this abyss of not knowing what we're gonna do. And I just said, you know, we're awesome. Like, we're pretty amazing people. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but we're really cool. And we don't get to play together. And I think that it would be really cool. And I think the fans and our friends, I mean, they've been asking us, you know, hey, are you going to do anything? And I just thought, you know, let's just give him an opportunity to hear what we do. Chris is not, it's totally out of his box to be the singer, lead singer or front person, you know, but he's got an incredible voice, as whoever is watching this that saw us knows that, like, hey, oh my gosh. I mean, I had so many people were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know Chris could sing, or oh my gosh, you know, Chris is singing. And I was just so proud of him to step out of his box, his comfort zone, and kind of start taking the reins and singing these lead songs. And together we did some duets, and you know, we left it up to our fans and our friends to donate anything. And I mean, again, it's really hard because you have to, like, kind of break your pride down a little bit and say, hey, you know what? We need help. And if you can, great. If you can't, I know it's a struggle out there for a lot of people. But let us give you our gift in return, so that we feel like we're giving something back, you know. And you know, I feel like we just wanted to show everybody, like, take them away for a night. I can't tell you how exhausted, and he worked every day, like all day. He was in the office making tracks, recording background vocals, doing all of this stuff, working so hard. He was so intense. And afterwards, I was exhausted. Like, the whole next day, I don't think I got out of bed. I was just exhausted emotionally, because people gave so much. I'm going to start crying, but people gave us so much and gave us hope, that and reminded us of that, what an incredible, amazing group of people that love music are, you know, and that they just, I can't say thank you enough. Like, we don't even have the words to express our gratitude towards our friends and our fans that helped us. You know, I mean, some of them sacrificed and spent that entire I mean, we just kept going. You know, 2.5 hours of music, we just kept going because we didn't even know what to say. We're so excited all these people wanted to see us, and we're gonna do it again. And, like, no, with just a gratitude one, like a thank you so much, and here's some more stuff. And we just opened it to requests this time, and we wrote to everybody and asked for requests just to say thank you.
But I also think you guys have to know too, because we were on and I was reading the comments and stuff. You guys gave to all the people watching. You guys gave a lot to them too, because for so many people, I really truly believe this. Wayne has a shirt that says, well, you guys opened for this girl. Music saves
Songs save
songs
lives.
save
Yeah,
lives.
Sarah Blacker. Yeah.
And I truly believe that music heals the soul. So in a time when everybody is just, we're all riding the storm together, but everybody's boat is different because everybody's situation is different. And it drives me crazy that people will go, oh, we're just all in this together and everything's the same for everybody. No, it's not. And so I think you guys really helped a lot of people, letting people escape with your music for 2.5 hours, because it's, you know, that's something that's just, all you have to go do is sit on your couch and get cozy and let your mind be free of the worry and just listen to tunes and grooves that you really love, you know? So
The other thing I'm really glad you mentioned the hard work that he put in to do what you do, because you made it look so effortless. And you were performing to a green dot on an iPad, as opposed to all the people that we're used to seeing, which had to be that's a bizarre thing in itself for 2.5 hours. But
with no clap, we needed applause.
Yeah. You need
my keyboard player, Bill Bennett, they emailed me or texted me later, and they're like, Bill says you need an applause button, like a little
track.
Sound, like a, what is that called? Anyway, I'm not technologically.
You need a little clapper so you can just hit with your foot and the hands will clap.
It's weird after you just sing and you're like, and then it's over and you're like,
now what?
Crickets.
It's so weird not having that.
You know, we could hear the ding. You know, so we knew there were people that were leaving messages. We didn't have a real mechanism.
We couldn't see all the comments.
Yeah. But I got to say, you know, from my perspective, you know, it was cool after it was all said and done. We look back from some of the comments to see people responding to what we did, and it really made me feel like there's some value in what I do. And I think that's an encouraging thing. And going forward, I think that that's important for performers and entertainers, you know, to recognize that there is a value in what we bring, that there's a value to the human spirit. There is a catharsis and value to ourselves to do that. I mean, because, you know, after it's said and done and seeing the people respond like they did and say the nice things about both of our effort, you know, it was, you know, that was a reward that was completely separate from some of the generosity that people showed. It's just, you know, the validation that people do care and people do value what we can bring from an artistry standpoint, from an entertainment standpoint, that they're hungry for that. And I think when this all comes back together, I know personally, man, the first time I take the stage and see people out there, I'm probably going to get verklempt too, because I mean, this is something that I really treasure. And I think that there will be a part of me that will never take it as much, you know, as long as we've been doing it, man. I mean, you get a little jaded, you know, on crowds, you know, getting together. And I think that first crowd is the only ones who love the hell out of them, because I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad that we have this great privilege to do this again. I don't want to quit.
Did he do such a good job? Like, did he do such a good job?
No, don't stop. Don't stop.
I mean, did he do such a good job? He's so great. He honestly,
the clap track.
There you go.
I have to say, it will. I'll just do a quick add-on. I don't think we appreciate what he's saying. Like, we take for granted what we do and what it does for other people. I mean, we go to concerts, but because of what we do, there's a half part that's like, oh my gosh, and then there's the other half that's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're analyzing all the time.
And I hate that. I hate it but it's like in part of who I am, so I have to like talk myself like out of it so that I don't focus on that. But
I mean, you know, this moment, I mean, like, you know, sometimes in the middle of the show, I'm thinking, man, I wonder if the buffet's still going to be open.
And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh,
should not have admitted that.
Can they see my muffin tops? These were buffet. But anyway, that's what it gave us a newfound respect and appreciation for what we do too. I mean, honestly, we don't realize what the power of music can do for other people, because we're usually on the other side of it. And so it's really, really nice to get a response and to know that in this time of unsettledness, I don't even know if that's a word, he'll remind me, chaos, and that we were able to separate them, because everything that you watch on TV right now, if you even try to watch anything, it's just like, everyone's dying, you know, and it's like, we just needed to take that moment out to give up, and we didn't realize that we were able to do that, and they reminded us. It was just.
So do you guys, I mean, I will say for us, I really am, I've not enjoyed the reason he's home, but I've enjoyed him being home.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the longest we've been home together in 21 years. So
As long as we've been home together since January.
Like,
so,
I'm not getting used to this.
while I really love certain aspects of what that's brought, I'm not sure how it's going to feel when you guys go back on the road. Do you have feelings about what that'll feel like and how it will be? Because now you guys are different than us, because Stephanie, you have a tour that you go this way and Chris goes this way, and you're coming back and forth at home at different times, which is different for us because I'm here all the time. What do you think that's going to feel like? And especially because you're newlyweds.
I think, can I take this one first?
Why not?
I will be excited to work because I know that my bank account will be like, yeah, girl. But I was going to say that I thought about this earlier in the conversation. I kept thinking, you know, the silver lining in all of this, because I always am trying to find the glass half full part of this situation in the world. And it has been such a joy to have kind of like an ongoing honeymoon. You can't really go out and participate in a lot of dates, you know, going to the movies or out to dinner at a nice restaurant. You know, I've been cooking because I really enjoy it. And that's been great. But to not have to pack and unpack.
Yeah.
And get on it and drive to the airport and go through security and sit at the airport and see if it's delayed and stop somewhere and then stop and wait there for I never understood this when I first joined Starship. Our guitar player who passed away, unfortunately, and we love him so much, Mark. I remember he used to say, "We don't get paid to be on the stage. We get paid to travel." Because that's the work part. And I was like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And now I understand what he was saying. Really, the performing on stage part is nothing. I mean, it's the joy of the whole process. That's the best part. But what the hard part is, the job part of it for us is the getting up at 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. and getting your stuff packed and meeting downstairs for, you know, the whole band meets at the lobby at this time, and then we drive for whatever amount of time. Sometimes it's 10 minutes to the airport, sometimes it's 3.5 hours, whatever. And the whole process of that, I don't miss that. I think that that's the part that I'm going to be like, oh, we have to go back to the airport, right? I have to say, it's been such a joy. And I know that, for me, when he's not around, I had my sweet dog who is not with us anymore. We just lost him a couple weeks ago. And so now I'm just kind of like, when he's not around, I watch too many serial killer shows. And so I'm always like, I don't want you to go because then I'm not going to sleep at night. Just my own mental problem. But, you know, I think being separated is going to kind of stink because I really like him. And I'm sure it's the same for you, because we can tell when couples really not just love each other, but they really like each other. And we really like each other. At least that's what I like. Unless he's blind. But
This is being filmed, Chris. This is on video now. Just
yeah.
Everybody can see that.
I love her.
But you know, I was thinking, I've thought about that too. I have single friends. I've thought about them. Can you imagine in this time being single and doing this alone, or being in a situation where, and I mean, there are people that are together that don't like each other.
Yes.
Yes. So can you imagine? I mean, I think we're all really blessed because we don't only love the other person, we truly like the other person, and we like being with them and sharing life with them. So I think it's going to be hard. I'll be the first one to say, bring on the tour schedule. But
it'll be bittersweet.
Yeah, because I like to buy things.
Yeah. What's that?
I like shoes.
Yeah, but this has been a blessing in a way. The half-empty, optimistic part of it is, we have had an amazing time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't have had we just gone like, this is going to be the biggest year we've had in a long time. So she wouldn't have seen a lot of me. So this has been a cool time, and it's been a positive thing. I mean, we really, we've grown, and we've learned to negotiate things, and we, really had the great advantage of this time to become a stronger couple. So.
I totally, this wasn't even planned, but this came to my mind. You guys have spent a lot of time over the last couple of years in Hawaii, and of course your wedding was there. How are your friends, how are things there on the island, and what's happening there?
Well, I check in with them all the time, and they're the ones that really, really push for us to do our little concert thing. Hold on, let me sit like him. I should just, there we go.
Sorry, it's casual.
We check in with them. They're doing great at their place. And there's only, I think, 12 people in Hawaii.
On the Big Island.
On the Big Island, maybe. Yeah, there's only 12. Number 10, which happened to be crazy. I mean, it did affect some of our circles. As you know, Christopher Cross, who's a friend of mine and a friend of yours, I'm sure, got it, and he had really bad complications due to it. But our people, like my wedding planner, got it. She was number 10.
Oh wow!
And so but she didn't have crazy symptoms. She didn't get really sick from it. She just got tested for it, separated herself from her family. No one else in her family got it, but she still was in isolation and quarantined herself along with her dog for another 14 days. But she didn't get like the respiratory or the crazy fever. She just tested positive for it. So she's the only one out there that I know, but they're doing fine. They do this thing where they meet out on the green area, I think the area where we got married, the actual reception, and they do like a Tai Chi kind of thing, and they meet and they have dinner, but they all separate themselves.
That's
in
awesome.
The area. Yeah, because and I just keep thinking like, no one likes a bragger. I mean, you're poor. It must be so hard to be in Hawaii and dealing with COVID-19. I'm like,
when you go to Hawaii, you want to stay 10 feet away from everybody anyway. So it's like, life business as usual over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will let them know that you guys asked about them too, but they're such amazing people, and they still check in with us, and we check in with them. And so far, everybody that we know there has been safe. And the place that they live at, the staff at the restaurants and stuff, they had to cut down, and they practice really good. But I mean, literally on the whole island, only 12 people. That's pretty amazing.
Awesome. That's really good.
Yeah. So I'm sure in Waikiki, the numbers there are a little bit different, but I mean, I actually haven't followed that, but it seems to be pretty, what's that called? I sometimes forget the word.
Contained. Well, I mean, I saw a news report either today or yesterday saying that Hawaii is one of the states with the least number of confirmed cases.
Yeah.
And obviously,
boy, when planes fly again, Hawaii is going to get overrun, aren't they?
Bombarded.
Boom. Yeah.
Actually, I saw another article saying that tourism is actually paying people to leave Hawaii. If tourists are trapped there, they're offering to fly them back.
Excellent. Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get out of paradise.
We can't wait to go back. Our keyboard player and his wife, they go all the time, sometimes 2-3 times a year, because Hawaii is their favorite place in the world.
Yeah.
And actually, I think he was sitting at their table. But they had a trip planned for May, and they had to cancel it. Mm-hmm. So, but that's probably one of our first things that we're going to try to plan on doing, is going back there.
We have a trip planned for Easter, and so hoping
next Easter?
Yeah, next Easter. We booked it when we were there in January.
Well, if you need us to help find those Easter eggs,
there you go.
Don't call us, because we'll be somewhere else.
We want to go every year anyway, just because it's our place and our anniversary thing. But that's
we truly fell in love with Kona. I mean, obviously, because we booked an Airbnb while we were there for Easter. So we both figured that Easter was safe. You guys rarely work on Easter weekend, so we're like, this is probably safe.
Yeah.
We hope, right?
It will be. It will be. It will be.
Yes, it will be.
Sunday morning, Easter next year. Hey, we got to take it. Come on.
I'll go with you.
Okay. All right, we'll go.
One last question for the series of people that we're going to talk to. You were probably the only people living in Texas that we know at the moment to include in these talks. Just real quickly, Texas doing anything different or taking care of people? What's the word on the ground there for independent contractors in Texas?
Well, for independent contractors, I got to say that Texas was one of the first states. They started last Monday, with unemployment insurance, provision to the self-employed. They have it's busy like every other. Obviously, I've lived in Tennessee and tried to make that work, but they're so far behind up there, and so
Nevada's
Nevada's
way worse.
Even without a Texas
Really?
driver's license, all the driver's license places closed down before we could even get there to change our license. The Texas Workforce Commission were very helpful. I finally got them on the phone, and they walked us through it and made arrangements to do it. So the good thing about Texas, some of the real highly populated urban areas, like Houston and Austin, and even downtown Dallas, in that area where there are a lot of people that are stacked up on top of each other. They've had some issues with higher occurrence, but in our county, I think there were there's maybe 400 or 500 cases, maybe only 300 or 400 cases in Collin County, which is north of Dallas County, and 1.3 million people that live in this area. So, it's been pretty safe, and everybody has, been cooperative as far as
and we're not even in the top 10 most cases, death tolls, or most cases of coronavirus. We're not even in the list of top 10 states that have the most.
Yeah.
And I think it's also because what they're saying is people that in warmer areas tend to not have it as bad as the ones that are, obviously the East Coast is just getting slammed.
And they're piled on top of each other too. There's so much more.
They are. But for for like Dallas and Houston, for busy cities, we're not even in the top 10 thing. And I know that the governor here, I believe, is trying to open businesses like very soon, possibly next week, which is hopeful for people who want to get back to work, and and for people who don't, the option is to stay home and still be able to collect the unemployment to feel safe, which I think is really great that they're able to do that, because you have the option. There's just a lot of people whose businesses they want to, there's so many small businesses here that, we hope that they don't go under. Yeah. So So it's a good thing here in the smaller areas, and it's just going to be a slow process of trying to open which ones are going to fare well, and I think that that's the only thing that you can do is just to kind of slowly bring that back and see how it does. And you know, if it starts to spike again, then you have to make the decision to change it again. But that's, you know, so we're hoping. I think they're really.
I've said more than once, and I think you guys probably feel the same way. We're so blessed to live in somewhere that's a warm sunshine climate, where you can get out and take walks and take hikes and bike and just get fresh air and see the sunshine. I, for the life of me, can't imagine being in the dreary, cold, can't get out. Yeah. This is like already, and that would just be no. Poor Wayne at that point. That's all I can say, because I was a basket case.
My mother.
One comment, Chris. You're right place, right time. Because for Tennessee, with the preponderance of musicians, bands, Broadway, buses, so on and so forth, and for Nevada, the two entertainment hubs like that, to be so far behind the curve now with our industry is just mind bending. And you are in neither. You got to the right place at the right time. So good timing.
There's one thing at least with getting married and moving to a brand new state. You know, a month later, I guess
We picked a good one.
Positive.
Yes, you did. Well, as you know, I have a soft spot in my heart for Dallas, Texas. So I won't get. Yeah, I know. I know.
Get another call.
Notice I kept it turned away as I was drinking.
It was great to talk to you guys. Thank you for helping us
Thank
kick
you
this
guys
off.
so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, our pleasure. Glad to be
I didn't mean to interrupt. If you had one last thought or something.
I just wanted to say I'm from Connecticut. My family, my mother, and who's by herself because she's diabetic, so she's high percentage.
Yeah.
So she's very isolated. And my sister and her husband, they both work in healthcare. In the healthcare, like my brother-in-law works at Yale Hospital. My sister works for a doctor as well. And so I get what you're saying. Like I will keep them in our thoughts because they stand aunts and uncles over there who are kind of isolated in their home, and hopefully this will in Connecticut. So hopefully this will hopefully it's made its peak and it's on its way down so that they can kind of get out into the real world. But we love you so much, you guys.
We love you guys. Thank you. And we will see you guys very soon.
All right. Stay healthy.
And send our love to your family, please. We so enjoyed meeting them. All of the family. So say hi and tell them Wayne and Rhonda give them lots of love and hugs. You guys take care.
Okay.
Love you guys. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.